Hello, this is Dr. Emmanuel Toye Shobande. I'm a strategic leadership expert, executive coach, conference speaker, and award-winning author. Welcome to the Leadership Factory. This is a platform where we offer creative insights and solutions to businesses and leaders. On today's episode, we shall be discussing the topic dear to my heart, leadership after the reset. Why discipline, not vision, determines impact. This is the time of the year that something subtle but decisive begins to happen inside most organizations. The speeches are now over. The strategy decks have been shared. The symbolic language of new beginnings has largely run its course. What remains is behavior, leadership behavior. And this is the moment when leadership stops being aspirational and becomes observable. Not in grand gestures, but in small, repeated choices that either reinforce readiness or quietly erodes it. Last week's episode, we argued that readiness and not resolution determines the year. However, this week, our focus moves one step deeper. Once readiness has been acknowledged, the new year begins to test leadership discipline. It tests whether leaders can hold steady when urgency returns, whether they can protect focus when noise re-enters, and whether they can model consistency when the temptation to revert to old habits grow stronger. History offers us a familiar pattern. Many organizational failures do not occur because leaders lacked insight in January. They occur because leaders abandoned that insight by February. Discipline, far more than intelligence or intent, is what carries early clarity into sustained performance. In psychological terms, this phase is where cognitive dissonance emerges. Leaders know what they said mattered. They know the tone they set earlier in the month. But now, competing demands arrive. Investors want speed, board members want evidence. Teams want certainty. The pressure to shortcut reflection and default to command quietly increases. This is where leadership credibility is either strengthened or compromised. So, one of the most common discipline failures at this stage is decision dilution. Leaders begin to reopen conversations that were already settled, often in response to anxiety rather than new information. While this may feel adaptive, team members experience it as instability. People begin to hedge, waiting for the next reversal. Momentum slows, not because people lack capability, but because they lack confidence that today's direction will survive tomorrow's meeting. Effective leaders understand that discipline does not mean rigidity. It means honoring decisions unless there is a compelling reason to change them, and when change is required, naming it explicitly for all to understand. Stability of direction creates what we call psychological safety, and psychological safety is what allows people to execute without constantly scanning for risk. Another test of leadership discipline in mid-January is attention management. What leaders consistently pay attention to becomes the organization's real priority, regardless of what was announced earlier. If a leader says, people's well-being matters to us, but they only ask about numbers, then the message is clear. It is the numbers and not people. If collaboration is praised, but only individual performance is rewarded, culture follows incentives and not speeches. This is why disciplined leaders audit their own behavior during this period. They listen, they ask questions, they notice what they interrupt and observe where they show impatience. These signals travel faster than any formal communication. Therefore, in complex organizations, people take their cues less from policy and more from proximity to power and leadership. There's also a quieter discipline that matters deeply in January, the discipline of emotional regulation. Leaders often underestimate how much their internal state shapes the environment around them. When leaders carry unresolved stress into the new year, it leaks. It shows up as irritability, defensiveness, or urgency that feels disproportionate to the situation. team members feel this immediately, even if they cannot articulate it, even if when they cannot voice it out for fear of reprisal. The most effective leaders use this period to regulate themselves because attempting to regulate others. They create space to think not as luxury but as responsibility. They understand that clarity is not produced under constant reaction or reactivity. In doing so, they model a pace that allows others to bring their best judgment forward rather than their fastest response. For workplace professionals and emerging leaders listening to me, this phase offers a valuable lesson for you. Leadership is not proven in moments of launch, it is proven in moments of maintenance and sustenance. My question to you is this: can you sustain the standards you introduced? Can you resist the pull of performative urgency? Can you remain consistent when no one is applauding your restraint? Here, several reflective questions are worth sitting on this week. Where are you most tempted to compromise clarity for speed? What decisions have you quietly reopened and why? What are people learning from what you consistently react to? These questions are uncomfortable precisely because they are diagnostics. Practically, leaders who navigate this phase tend to do a few things instinctively. They slow the key decisions just enough to ensure alignment without stalling progress. They revisit expectations privately with their leadership teams to reinforce consistency. They protect time for thinking rather than filling every moment with meetings. None of this is dramatic, but all of it is consequential. As January advances, the organizations that will outperform are not the loudest or the fastest. They are the most coherent. Their leaders are predictable in the sense of the word. Therefore, people know what matters and how decisions are made, and what will not suddenly change without explanation. This coherence reduces friction and frees energy for execution. The challenge for this week is simple, but it is not easy. Audit your discipline. I repeat, audit your discipline. Notice where you are being pulled away from the leadership posture you committed to earlier this month. Correct gently but decisively. Choose consistency over intensity. Choose coherence over urgency. Remember, leadership is not sustained by how convincingly a year is launched, but by how faithfully its early standards are maintained. If you can hold discipline now, the rest of the year will not require constant repair. It will require leadership practiced quietly, repeatedly, and with intention. For more insights and engagement, you can send me an email. Send a mail to contactme@toyeshobande.com. Thank you for listening, and bye. See you next time. Bye.